Hey, Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights fans, alongside NAHL head coach Tom Kowal, I'm Andrew Mossbrooks. It's time for another edition of Coach's Corner, the first one of 2019, and we're already almost a month through the new year, so it's been a little while, Tom. You guys had a long break, but since coming back, you've got points in 5 of the 6 games that you've played so far in 2019. I think a really good start to the second half of the year and motivating all the guys going into what's going to be crunch time very soon.
No, I mean, we go in with the goal when we started 2019. I mean, everyone got to go home and refresh. The staff got to kind of look at some film, look at some different ideas for the second half of the year. Now we really don't have rookies anymore. Everyone's got some good junior amount of games under their belt. But yeah, I mean, definitely whenever you can get points and, whenever you come out of the weekend getting 2 to 3 to 4 points a weekend, I can't complain. But, on the other side of it, it's like we feel we should be getting a few more points that we've given away. But you know what? Hey, we've made some big strides since November 15th. Since the first half of the year, we can always get better, but we're like where we're going right now.
I want to piggyback off what you just said there, because one of the things I remember talking to you about a lot, sometimes on Coach's Corner, sometimes off the air, is this team went through some tough times that first half of the year, but you never really seemed to wane from your belief in the team's ability. And one of the things you constantly preach is, well, they were young kids. They were kids playing their first few games in junior hockey. It's totally different than the youth level. It's way more games than the youth level. Now, do you feel more comfortable with this squad, and can you see it? Could you see it maybe when they came back from the holiday break that, these kids know what it's like now to play junior hockey?
Well, it's like we joked, the staff joked over Christmas break where you hand them all raises when they come back in for Christmas.
Yeah,
and tell them, that we're no longer boys anymore, we're men. I don't want to, bring back that, hey, we have some young kids, but we do. But, it's time, it's junior hockey. You can't sit there and go, when are you not young anymore? So that was our goal when we met with the team after the first half here, when they all got back into town. Is we got to grow up and we've got to play like men and treat each other like men. We got to act like men and we got to play like men. And the guys have responded. We've made a few mental errors, but and we're not making as near as many as we didn't. We're not giving up as many shots as we didn't, and we're having more success. But as you look at our division right now, it's gonna, you almost have 3 teams running away with the top 3, and you have 3 teams fighting for that last spot. And, every point counts, and we gotta we make sure the kids know every day that we gotta go into the weekend with 4 points in our mind, and that's what we're starting out this weekend with.
Well, like I mentioned, you had games where you had points in 5 of 6, so I think that's certainly a good start, and I think that's showing the boys are playing like men a little bit more. So if we recap in a nutshell, took 2 games against the Jamestown Rebels, picked up a point in a shootout loss against the Rebels, and that was a team that gave you fits through the first half of the season. Proved you could beat them, not only at Revolution Ice Center, but also up at Northwest Arena. Tyron Bronte had an overtime winner there. It was a heck of a goal. He was able to knock down their leading scorer, Alex Fry, on his way to the front of the net. And then you play the Johnstown Tomahawks. And you mentioned it, Tom. It's a top 3, bottom 3. But it feels like the top 1 is almost ignored by the other 5 because of how far ahead they were. You don't get a win on the weekend, but you get 2 points on the weekend against a very tough team. And watching those games from home, I didn't think, and if this becomes a playoff matchup, 1 versus 4, the Knights versus the Tomahawks, I didn't think you guys were out of any of those games.
No, it is. Hey, whenever you can get, what did we get, 7 out of 12 points
right
against in 6 games against our top 2 teams in our division. You want more, but we weren't getting 7 out of 12 early in the year on those 2 teams. So, going into last week, and Johnston's a very good hockey team. But I can tell you the conversation after the game was, in my mind is like, hey, we can beat them. If we just get into playoffs, we feel we have a strong chance to, give Johnstown a run for their money. They, we showed last weekend that we can play with the top team. We just have to do it every day in practice and every day on the weekend to be able to keep building off that in order to get where we ultimately want to go and defend our East Division Championship.
Well, in reality, it was 2 one-goal games in overtime. So exactly what you're saying. If it goes 1 goal the other way, you sweep the Johnstown Tomahawks. And by the way, they haven't lost a home game in over 100 days. So you were the closest team to ending that reign.
We're we're one shot away from getting 4 points on the weekend.
Right.
We're 2 shots away from getting 4 points on the weekend. I mean, however you want to look at it, but we didn't. And that's what we've got to strive to go get those 4 points, no matter who we're playing.
Speaking of shots on the weekend, Anthony Mastromonaco with a couple actually had 3 points in 2 games against the Tomahawks. His former team, even though he only had a cup of coffee with him, but he comes here, he gets a goal, actually ended up taking a shot then on their goaltender Cooper Lukenda, and then it was picked up by Jake Fuss, who was able to dump it in the net for a goal for him. Mastromonaco adds size to this team. We knew that when he came here, but it seems like now he's got his skates underneath him, and he's starting to add that scoring touch too.
I mean, when we're not looking for a player. I mean, obviously Anthony was a kid that we went after. Our staff was very familiar with, but I mean, you want to rough it up, Anthony Mastromonaco will drop the mitts. You want to shoot the puck, he'll score a goal. You want to pass the puck, he'll pass. I mean, he's the Gordie Howe hat trick almost.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's, every time he gets on the ice, Anthony's on the ice. You know that he's going to get something done. And I've been able to play him on power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5. 3-on-3 in overtime. I mean, Anthony's a all-around great hockey player, and I'm looking forward to watching him not only in a Knights jersey, but further in his career.
I think even though he hasn't been here the entire season like the bulk of your group has, he's adapted into that Knights culture. And I think another guy who did that for parts of 2 seasons, Luke Robinson, actually parts of 3, played a game for you 3 seasons ago, including playoffs, over 100 games with this team. He was a big part of the run to the Robertson Cup last year. And now defenseman Luke Robinson on his way up. You've always preached about advancing players. Well, now he's going to the United States Hockey League to join the Dubuque Fighting Saints. Robinson this year, 7 points with the Knights, all assists, all on the power play. But this is, without a doubt, a little bit of a loss to the blue line, but certainly a great player, and I think no hard feelings in departing.
You never want to see one of your better players go. In the sense of for the team aspect. Okay, but our goal for the Wilkes-Barre Knights has always been, develop you and get you out of here. And we had an opportunity with Luke Robinson that, after, his performance last year, especially in playoffs, he was arguably our best defenseman for 9 playoff hockey games. And he came in, and as you say, he was a big part of our power play. He held that blue line pretty well. We couldn't be more than happy for Luke Robinson. And as we mentioned in our office, it wasn't great for the Wilkes-Barre Knights team because you're losing one of your better defensemen. But this is great for the Wilkes-Barre Knights organization and for Luke Robinson. I mean, whenever a kid's ready to take the next step and go to the next level, I don't, and this organization doesn't want to be the guy to hold him back. So we wish Luke the very best. He'll be playing in the USHL, playing for the Dubuque Fighting Saints. I plan on following him up there. We've had a great relationship with Dubuque, and I look forward to watching his career even develop even bigger and hopefully into college hockey through the Dubuque Fighting Saints.
Yeah, from rocking the armor of a Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knight to wearing a halo now with the Fighting Saints. Robinson, best of luck to you. And unfortunately, more losses coming on the blue line, at least for the short term. Defenseman Blake Kriska, defenseman and captain Shea Donovan out with some injuries. You want to maybe detail a little bit what's going on?
No, it's 2019's been pretty decent on the point system in the standings, but it's been very bad on health-wise for us right now. So, we're fighting a little bit of the illness, but, the main problem right now is we're fighting injuries. When you come in and compete every day and you get the ice time that you do, like Shea Donovan and Blake Kriska and Tyrone Bronte, those are 3 players right there, defense and forwards, that log a lot of ice time. And injuries happen in the sports, unfortunately, but, we look at it as, hey, and our model this whole week is, guys, here's a chance for you guys to step up. This is an opportunity for our so-called old rookies now that are in their second half of the year to show, okay, I can play in that role and I can fill in that role. And we're going to have some guys that are probably going to get opportunities this weekend that maybe we wouldn't have gotten if Bronte, Blake, and Donovan were playing. So we've brought in one of our affiliates, out of the Pittsburgh area, and Caden Lewandowski, and we're actually picking up a player from our Eastern Hockey League of Wilkes-Barre Knights. He practices and plays in our own building right now, Matthew Passaretti. So, this is an opportunity for those two. A kid that's just joining our team as an affiliate, but more importantly, a kid that's played in our organization already for our Eastern Hockey League team. And, as one guy moves up from us to USHL, we get to bring a guy up from the Tier 3 league to the Tier 2 league. And we're looking forward to seeing how those two play. They get to practice with us this week. They've looked real well, and we'll see when the puck drops tomorrow at 3 o'clock what those two are made of.
Yeah, so with subtraction in terms of injury comes the addition of those guys you mentioned, Caden Lewandowski from the Pittsburgh Selects, Matt Passaretti, who's already committed to SUNY Canton University next year, NCAA D3, and not to tip your hand too much, but these guys are going to be playing, so it's not like they're just going to be practice guys.
Nope, not at all. No, they will both be in the lineup 100% tomorrow unless something crazy happens next 24 hours. And hey, it's like the 20 guys that dress tomorrow. They're all going to get one shift. Let's see how many, and if they earn a second one, they will. But you have 6 defensemen. We have 4 returning NA guys that are on our team going to be playing in the lineup tomorrow, and we'll have these 2. And these guys have. Lewandowski's already played a game for us this year. Matt Passaretti was just real close to making our team out of trial camp, and he's practiced with us several times this year. So he's very familiar with us. We're familiar with him, but we're going into the game thinking we're going to play 6 defensemen tomorrow night, and we have the confidence in both those gentlemen that they're going to be able to step in and not miss a beat. They might be a little shaky at the beginning, but as we all are when we first come up. So we have confidence they're going to be solid on the blue line, hopefully help us get some offense generated and get 2 points tomorrow night.
Well, you mentioned Caden Lewandowski's already played a game up here. Matt Passaretti actually led the EHL Knights in scoring for defensemen. So not only are you getting a guy, it's not necessarily just a Band-Aid of a call-up. These are 2 players that are going to have the opportunity, as you mentioned, hey, we're going to give you 1 shift, convince us to give you more.
Yeah, we've had several guys through here in the last 2 weeks. To kind of take a look at the scene, and we feel in the situation that's upon us that these 2 defensemen are the best 2 defensemen right now that we feel could step in and log some ice time, and so I don't have to play 4 defensemen all weekend. So we're really looking forward to seeing these 2 play. Obviously, Passaretti's committed and going to college, but we lost a defenseman, like you said, with Luke Robinson. So before the deadline, I'm looking to pick up a defenseman. So as they're playing a hockey game, as a staff, we're also evaluating to see how we're going to fill Luke Robinson's hole. Like you said, when one guy moves on, another opportunity opens for somebody else. So, at the same time, they're filling a hole for us, but they're not just a fill-in. They will be an active player tomorrow night, and we look forward to having them on the ice.
It's a home and home against the New Jersey Titans. Right now, the gray and blue are looking a little black and blue because of some injuries, but Knights still have an opportunity to get some points. And Tom, as you mentioned, 3 bottom teams separated by 1 point. The Knights can catapult ahead of the Generals and Black Bears with a couple wins this weekend and get back into a playoff spot. I want to remind you to follow us on social media at WBS Knights on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and of course right here on our YouTube channel, WBS Knights Hockey. That's going to do it for the first Coach's Corner of 2019. Tom Kowal, thanks for the time.
Thank you very much.